Hi, John Kavakis here again with another episode of my take for Forum 43 and the Diecast Zone. Let me talk to you a little bit about sports cars. Right there after World War II, we had a whole bunch of soldiers come home from having spent some time in Europe where they saw smaller cars that were nimble and handled well. They were kind of a stark contrast to the larger, heavier cars that were on the streets in the United States. And they wanted cars like those, but they had dependability problems, there were availability problems, and these guys had money in their pockets, and they wanted to have something that was reliable, something that they could have service right there in their neighborhood and everything. And some of the makers kind of jumped right on that. Muntz made a car called the Muntz Jet. Curtis made a Curtis Craft. Those weren't really production cars. But the major manufacturers began to see potential on that. And one of those was Nash Healey. Now, there's a story that occurred here is Donald Healey of Donald Healey Motors was making the Healey Silverstone. This is the 1950 model. This is what it looked like. But he wanted to put a Cadillac engine in it. And he made a trip to the United States on the Queen Elizabeth and talked with Cadillac. Couldn't put the deal together. Now, he had lengthened and widened the frame for the Silverstone to accommodate the Cadillac engine. And so he was on his way back to England on the Queen Elizabeth when he ran into George Mason of the Nash Healey Corporation. They had dinner together a couple times. They had some discussions, and they made production plans for the Nash Healey. Now, the Nash Healey came out in 1951. It was based on that longer, wider ladder frame chassis from the Silverstone. It came with a 234 cubic inch straight six, a heavy engine for the chassis, but not as heavy as that Cadillac engine would have been. The car weighed about 2,400 pounds. Just to give you some perspective, it's just a little bit heavier, but a bit more powerful. Healey put aluminum heads on the engine, put the two side draft SU carburetors, which were common in Britain at the time, and the engine produced 124 horsepower. That's a little bit more powerful and a little bit more heavy than the original 91 Miata was. So it was a sprightly car. Nash designed a body for it. It was made out of aluminum. I think it was a clean design. You can see it here. Very classic in its proportions. And they had Pininfarina design another body for 1952. This is what it looked like. You can decide which one you like better. I just think the first one is a little bit more classic looking. So the car came with a 3-speed manual with overdrive, Borg-Marner overdrive. You know, it had coiled springs up front, leaf springs from the Nash in the back. It was a nice car, and they put it into production in 1951. Now, it wasn't meant to be a large producer. It was meant to be a halo car, an aspirational model. Nash only made 104 in the first year. They only made about 600 during the entire production run. But it was to make a statement, and it was that unique blend of American powertrain and European styling and the lightweight, nimble handling cars that these soldiers drove when they were over there in Europe. So it was a beautiful car. And we've got Brooklyn's model of it here today. This is the 1951 Nash Healey Le Mans Roadster. This one is in light green. And if I understand myself correctly, this is how it appears in the Bulgari collection. So we're going to take it apart and take a look at the model. Typical Brooklyn packaging, very efficient, very protective of the model. Let me put my little glove on here so I don't put fingerprints on the model. I want to take care of these things because they're precious. And there it is. So, and these are my first impressions on these things. So that, you know, I want to tell you what I see as I take a look at it. It's beautiful green. Boy, and I'm going to tell you, I've seen pictures of this on Forum 43 on some of the blogs and that, and I got to tell you, the pictures do not do it justice. This is an intricately detailed car that you have to see in person in order to appreciate. Now, let me get this running here, and I'll show you what I see on it. Again, Brooklyn's just doing a great job with grills. There's a black wash to it. The emblems there are very well picked out. The lensing is fantastic. It's the little details that are making this design. The anchors for the roof, the lock cover for the trunk, just very delicate, very beautifully picked out. The mirror on the side to scale. The steering wheel to scale. This is something that we're seeing on some of the newer models. They're not the big bulky steering wheels that we're seeing on the older models that kind of rub against the seat. The seat is very well detailed. A little blue trim around the seat. The dash is well formed, but probably could be picked out a little bit better. The vent on the front of the hood is well done, and as is the trim at the front of the hood scoop. The windshield frame is delicate. It's to scale. It's finely made. The wheels are just well picked out, and this one has the black wall tires, as would have been common on the Le Mans model. But the production models in the United States had white wall tires. Again, the finish is just beautiful. I think it's a fantastic model. It's available from Brooklyn right now. This is one that has just surprised me. Again, the pictures I saw were good. They were good. But this is a model that has to be seen to be appreciated. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a few more coming over the next few days. We just got back from vacation, and I've got the opportunity to catch up on things. So thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later.